Morning everyone, and welcome back to part 3, where we're going to be attaching the hoodie to our sweater. I do apologize for my absence the last 2 weeks, but I'm back and I can only thank you for your patience. And with all of that said, let's get straight into starting to attach our hoodie. Now I'm not going to do it in the same blue because I don't want you to miss anything. I'm just going to attach with some gray, and for this initial row of half double crochet I'm using my smaller hook size. I'm simply going to put a slip knot on my hook and then join into. Now if you had done the split in front, then you would simply join in that first stitch on your left with a single crochet. If you didn't do the split and your work is attached and it's the same like the back, simply find the midway, whether it be 1 or 2 stitches off. Just find the middle of your front section and attach there with a single crochet. It's going to work out the same. So just in that first stitch I'm just attaching with a single crochet, and I'm stacking another one on top, and then in every stitch around, in the top of each stitch, I'm simply going to be placing a half double crochet. So do that until you reach the other section or the other part of the neckline, and I will meet you there. I forgot to say, there's no real stitch count because as you work over the shoulder, you won't be working into the top of stitches as such. You'll be working into the half double crochet and post stitches that we did here. Well, not post stitches, but half doubles and oh my gosh, see, this is what an absence of 2 weeks will do. You forget everything. But in these rows that go over the shoulder, just place a half double crochet as best you can into every opening that will be visible to you. Like I said, there's no real stitch count. Just do the best you can by placing a half double crochet just over that shoulder section. When you reach the back, you'll be working into the tops of your stitches once again until you reach the other shoulder. You'll do the exact same thing and head on over to the other side of the front. I've reached the front section and I'm simply going to turn my work and single crochet in that first stitch, stack another one on top, and then immediately we'll start with our stitch sequence, which was to make the seedling stitch. So I'm going to start immediately with a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet. I'm going to do this all the way around until I reach the other front section, and that is where I will meet you to place our last stitch. I've reached my last stitch, which for me was my stack single crochet, and I'm simply going to be placing a half double crochet in the top there. Done my work. I'm going to now switch over to my 5mm hook and start again. This time we'll be alternating our stitches. So I'm starting with my stack single crochet. You can do a chain 2 or 3, and then I'll be turning this stitch into a front post because it is now a back post. This front post will become a back post stitch, continuing with our stitch pattern. Gosh, why is this camera so shaky? I'm so sorry. I'm simply going to do that all the way around and end with a half double crochet in the very last stitch once again, and then I'm going to do one more row coming back with you, and then we will start our decreases. So I will explain. So bear with me, and let's do this row, one more row, and then I'm gonna go into explaining how to do your decreases. So I'm placing a half double crochet into my last stitch. I'm turning the work, and immediately I'll start with my stack single crochet and then alternate my post stitches once again. I'm going to do this to the end of the row, and then we'll do the measurement for your hoodie, and then we will start on our decrease rounds. I ended my row on my half double crochet, and yours will be much longer, of course. So let me just grab the hoodie in question. I'm gonna try to zoom out. I hope that that's visible. Okay, so sorry, it's sideways because it's just too big to get in on camera. But again, I didn't like you could just go straight up and not bother with any of the decreases that I'm going to show you. But I like a rounded hoodie instead of a pointy hoodie. I don't know, it's just the thing. So I did some decreases over 7 to 8 rows. I think this is where I started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of, well, it's not 8 rows of decreases, it's every alternate row, I think, but we're gonna get there soon enough. So you need the measurement for the height of your hoodie, which for me was about 30 centimeters. I don't know how much that is in inches right now, because I have moved from the living room to, it's about 32 centimeters actually. Yeah. And now I don't quite know where I put my measuring tape. So I don't have inches right now, but I'll put it somewhere on the screen. So I've got 32 centimeters in height, and my decreases started at roughly 22 centimeters. So once I had 22 centimeters, I measured it onto his existing hoodie, and that's when I decided to start decreasing to get a more rounded shape. So if that is what you want to do, continue with your hoodie until you reach about 22 centimeters. It can be more, it can be less, it depends on your taste. And then let's start decreasing, which is what I'm going to get into in the next section. So you need to have your measurements for your hoodie anyway, and if you don't want to do the decreases, certainly you don't have to. You'll just have a more pointed hoodie. And now I'll just show you what I did for decreases. So I placed my garment flat, and this midsection in front really helps because if you just flatten it out, you'll see the midsection in the back. So what you're looking for are 2 post stitches next to each other, and you will mark this post stitch. That'll be 1, 2. Oh, you can't see anything, I'm so sorry. Let me just bring you up. Stop that. Oh, that's better. Okay. You will mark the visible post stitches that you see in the back. So I've marked 1 front post, then there's 1 back post, another front post, and a back post. So you want to mark that back post because we're going to be decreasing over 4 stitches, and that is what that looks like. So when we reach this marker, this front post is going to become a back post, but we're going to be working both of these stitches together. So I'll show you once we get there. Yeah, so let's head on over to that. It's not going to make a lot of sense right now, but it'll make sense when we get there. So let's start our first stitch, which for me is my stack single crochet. I'm alternating and making my first front post, still carrying on with our same stitch sequence, nothing changes. I've reached that stitch that I've marked, and I just made a front post double crochet as this last stitch before my marker, and now these two stitches will become a back post. So instead of just going around one post, you're also going around the next post, and you're making both of them a back post double crochet, essentially decreasing. So two stitches work together. I'm going to leave this marker in. Our next stitch will now become a front post, so this one as well as the stitch next to it go around both of those posts and simply work your normal double crochet. I'm also going to leave that marker and just carry on with our stitches. We have now done 2 decreases. I'm just going to work till the end of the row. At the beginning of my row, I'm simply restarting. This is not a decrease round, so we're working our alternate stitch sequence once again. I'm just going to meet up with you once I reach those markers. So I have left the markers in. They don't mean anything right now, but I'm simply going to work our normal stitch sequence, alternating front and back post stitches. And then I just want to show you what all of that looks like. So that is all it is. These are the 2 stitches that we decreased. Alright, and now we're going to move our markers once again. So from here up to that stitch, just to the right of our decrease, and our marker on this side, 3 stitches over. So 1, 2, 3, and in this 4th stitch, place your marker. So these 2 stitches, well, 4 stitches will become 2 decrease stitches in our next row, and that is all you're going to be doing for the next 8 to 10 rows if you wish, depending on how tall you want your hoodie to be. I'm going to come back for one more round for this decrease section to decrease with you so that you can continue on your own after. Then I'm going to just show you how to close up your hoodie. It's very, very easy. So at the end of my row, working my last stitch, which is a half double crochet, turning my work, alternating my post stitches. I know I'm going a little bit fast, but by now the stitch sequence should be familiar to you, and that is not the hardest part of this hoodie, I don't think. I have reached my marker and placing a back post stitch just before the marker means that these two stitches are going to become a front post stitch. So working around both of those posts. The next two stitches is also a decrease. They will become a back post. So working around those two posts. And you have just decreased twice. And continue with your stitch sequence, alternating your post stitches. So that is what your decreases should look like. So let's turn this to the other side. This is your decrease section. They should all be in alignment. So you will keep doing that. You'll now move your markers once you come around with your next row. You'll move your markers up, always keeping them just in the middle of that split section. You could be off with 1 or 2 stitches. It would still work out fine. The way I place my marker is 1 stitch to the right. So here the marker is in this front post stitch, and then I will place it over not this front post stitch of the next row, but in the back post stitch right next to it. And then I'll simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're always increasing over 4 stitches. I'm sorry, decreasing. And that is it. So keep doing that for about 8 to 10 rows, or until you have a measurement of roughly 10 centimeters. You'll then stop with your decreases. Try on your hoodie, see if that is how tall you want it to be, and then you're simply going to flip inside out, and we're going to seam it up the same way we did for the shoulders, with either single crochet or slip stitch. Easy peasy. I'm not even going to grab my yarn. I'm just going to start 1 slip stitch for you, because we will have done seaming up already. So as long as it's inside out, your seam will be on the inside of the hoodie and not visible outside. You're simply going to be either slip stitching or single crocheting the 2 sides together, so that your hoodie will look like this at the end. This is the outside of the work, and that is the inside seam. So that is it. And then if you wanted, you can change colors like I did. And then, sorry, let me just come back out here. You can change colors and then add your ribbing. And for the ribbing, I started where we did the splits in the front. I started simply on the left hand side, and I placed half double crochet all around the front of the hoodie till I reached the other side. Now of course they never join, and they are in 2 parts. And only once I finished, I did 1 row of half double crochet, and then only 1 row of front post, back post stitches, and so they were not joined together. And then once I finished, I simply sewed this one section over the other, just here in the back. Sorry, just here in the back. I simply closed it and then sewed on the inside of the work, just sewed it closed. And then I attached buttons. You don't need to attach any button holes because the ribbing will allow for all of that to happen quite naturally. So I just did 3 little buttons. There you go. So I hope this was clear. If not, again, please just shout at me in the comments. You know, Bernie, you're a horrible teacher. You don't know what you're doing. That's fine. I never pretended to be an expert at anything. I just want to share how I make my garments for myself, practically for any size really. As long as you have a garment that you're working from, you can make this hoodie. So that is what I did for the front, and now we will move on to attach the sleeves. Again, very easy. I'm gonna just snip off this yarn and reuse it. So this might be a little bit of a tight fit, but all I did was join yarn in the middle of the armpit. So I just flattened the work and just joined with a single crochet, stacked another one on top, and placed the initial row of half double crochet as we do. Now I did do a stitch count for William's hoodie, and that was 58. It gave me a circumference measurement of 16 inches, and that made sense because the depth of the initial arm opening was 8 inches. So 8 times 2 to go around the arm is 16, so that worked out perfectly. This might be difficult to see because it's very small. I'm going to work, I think, I'm going to work up just a bigger circle just to show you. Maybe I'll work the 58 stitches just to show you how I decreased it. But you'll have to imagine that I am attaching it to the sleeve. So yeah, I don't know how we're going to make that work. We'll figure it out. Okay guys, I'm gonna try my best to to talk you through it because it's just the sleeve is too long to show you everything and my sample piece is too small. You won't be able to see anything. Now I did work up a little circle of just an even amount because that's all you need to work your sleeve, whatever size you have. My initial stitch count was 58. Yours may be smaller, it may be 48, it might be 50 or 52. As long as you have an even number, it's going to work much the same way in which we work the body. You'll work in a continuous round. So I'm going to show you the decreases on this little sample piece, and we're just going to pretend that I've attached it to the body. Now all you need to do is attach with an initial round of half double crochet in an even number. So for me that was 58. Again, this is a double XL size hoodie and the arm circumference was 16 inches. So those are the measurements that I can give you offhand. I worked my initial round of 58, and then I did 2 rows of our alternate seedling stitch. In round 4 I did a decrease, very much the same way that we did the decrease for the hoodie. You simply decrease at the beginning, so this front post and this back post will no, these 2 stitches will be decreased, and this next stitch will tell you what it is that you'll be decreasing them to. So since this stitch must turn into a back post, these 2 stitches must become a front post. So decreasing, working around both those posts, turning them into one front post stitch, the next stitch will become a back post, and you're going to continue alternating until you reach the end, which is what I'm going to do quickly to decrease the last 2 stitches of this round 4. I'm at the end of my round and I have 2 stitches left, and they will be decreased into a front post. Double crochet as well. I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my beginning chain 1, and chain 1 once again, and that is it. So that is my first decrease. I then continued working for 12 until row 12, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 more rounds, and in round 13 I did another decrease. So after this first decrease I will have had 56 stitches. In round 13 I'll decrease once again and I will then have 54 stitches. I worked 4 more rounds, 14 15 16 and 17, and then I decided to change color. Now you don't have to change colors at all. You can simply do a single color sleeve. Oh, and my sleeve length is 20 inches and not 28, like I said in a previous part of this tutorial. I don't know who I'm married to, maybe a orangutan. I don't know. I should really wear my reading glasses when I make these notes. Anyway, not 28, 20 inches. So I decided to do color changes. It's really not necessary. I added, and I did these only in half double crochet. I didn't add any of the stitch sequence because I couldn't get it. The measurements were completely out for me. If I did 2 rounds, they were too short. If I did 3 rounds, they were too, the sleeve ended up getting longer, and so I just went with half double crochet. So each of these sections are only 3 rows of half double crochet. I did no decreases in the white rows, and in each row of the gray and the black I did 2 decreases at the beginning and at the end. So that's your guide for this section if you want to change colors. If you're not changing colors, then you're simply going to do 2 rows and then a decrease, 2 rows and then a decrease for however many you need, because you'll be needing to taper down the sleeve until you measure about 18 inches. You'll do a decrease in almost every third row or fourth row, depending on how long you want your sleeve to be. I ended, when I joined the last section of gray, I ended my decreases on 34 stitches. So I still decreased in this section, and my cuff is 34 stitches. I then switched over to my 4mm to simply work my ribbing in our normal way of front post and double crochet, and I did that for roughly 2.5 inches for the cuff only. So that is my explanation for the sleeve. Again, do a single color if you like. I think it might just be the easiest thing to do. I enjoyed this color effect and so that's what I went with. You're going to have to keep joining and cutting yarn for this so that you can keep your seam in the center. Now this sleeve looks really nice, but the first sleeve I did not so good. This was the first one that gave me such a headache, and yeah, my join went askew and everything just, and I was initially going to rip it out and restart this one, and then my husband wanted to wear the thing, and I'm like, okay, fine. So now we're gonna wash it, and then I'm just never gonna go back to redo it. So we're just gonna have to live with it, because look at these seams. straight, 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 all skewed. I don't know what happened here. And then we've got a straight seam again on this last section. It is what it is. He is fine with it. I don't have to wear it, so I'm fine with it. And the second sleeve, a perfect sleeve. I'm like, could life not just be this way all the time? But guys, that is it. I hope you've understood everything. If not, please leave me a comment in the section below, and then I will try and assist from there. Thank you so much for being on this crazy ride with me. I will see you in my next tutorial, which I think will be our... Sorry, baby. I'm stealing the puppy's blanket, which will be... Oh, it's so warm. Our fully reversible. This is the right side of the blanket, and this is the wrong side of the blanket. So fully reversible blanket. This will be the tutorial we work on next. So I will see you then. Thanks, guys.